It's that time of year to set our vision and goals for the new year. 2024 is here, which means new year, new me, new goals, and a new podcast intro. Welcome to the Money Chisme Podcast, a fun and safe space for personal finance, investing, and entrepreneurship tips where we get the chisme on all things money with sass and humor. I am your host, Violeta, a first-generation Mexican immigrant, a real estate investor, entrepreneur, and I am here to help you kick ass in the financial game. Each week, I not only bring you expert tips, but also share the financial freedom and entrepreneurship journeys from our own community because representation is important. So grab un cafecito or si quieres an adult beverage and let's get into this week's Money Chisme. Hola and happy new year. I hope that everyone had a great New Year's. Mine was pretty relaxed and chill. I had la gripa and I'm still a little bit ronca, but hopefully it's not too distracting in this episode. So we are now in 2024, and I mean, if you're like one of those cardinal signs like me, I'm a Cancer. Apparently, we have ended our 15-year karmic cycle. I don't know much about it, but I keep seeing it on TikTok. So if that's true, then yay for us. So in this episode, I just want to, take some time and come on here and share some tips to make 2024 a great year for you and, share my own goals and, the goals that I have for Money Chisme. But before I get into that, I want to take some time and thank you for your support in 2023. This was Money Chisme's first year. And when I started this podcast, la verdad, I was kind of intimidated and felt like, will anyone listen to this? Like, who's going to hear my story? Who's going to listen to what I have to say? But like my friend Monica from You Want to Do What, which by the way, her interview is in episode 25. She talks about how our stories can help someone out there. You may not think so, but someone is always going to find your story, helpful to them. And she was right. We ended 2023 with 1,000 downloads, and I hit that in December when I had taken a break to just kind of have a mindset reset so that way I could start 2024 better and with a relaxed mindset. So yeah, thank you everyone for your support, and a special shout out to the awesome peeps that came on here as a guest to share their expertise, but most importantly, their stories. Because that's one of the reasons that I started the podcast, was to not only teach personal finance and investing and share my real estate investing journey. I wanted to also see ourselves represented in these success stories, but also share the journey because, we see the end result and the successes, but sometimes we don't see the journey itself. So I felt it is important to also share that part. Which, by the way, if you do want to come on here and share your story or expertise, I am booking now for my Q1, which is January through March episodes. So I'm scheduling those out. So if you're interested, that information is in the show notes. All right, so this time of year, a lot of us like to set our goals and dreams for the new year. And, I just want to share a few tips and kind of share what I am planning to implement this next year so that way I have a better 2024. So tip number 1 is when you're creating your plan and your vision for this year is, have a roadmap, have that action plan, because without a plan, you're setting yourself up for struggles, for even failure. So when you are creating your goals and your vision for this next year, actually sit down and, have your big goal, dream big, whatever it is, and then work your way backwards and break it down into smaller achievable goals. So, for example, if you want to buy land and build your dream home, it's a big dream, and, it might feel unachievable or like a huge dream. But have that dream and then just start working your way backwards. Like, what do you need to be able to buy the land and build a home? What goes into that? Then work your way backwards. Like, all right, so what do I need for that? Then, and continue working backwards. So then you need a loan, you need to buy land. And then, like, how are you going to afford it? Then, what are you going to save up? Whatever it may be. And then you just work your way back and actually create smaller goals and then plan it out. The key thing is, not just to say, like, oh, I'm going to, do this big goal, but you actually, stop and take time, like, plan a day. For example, am planning it for next week, and where you sit down and think of your goals and then actually create a plan. You brainstorm on how you're going to accomplish these goals, and create your roadmap, because without it you're going to find yourself kind of winging it, and then you might get overwhelmed and then you might give up on your goal. My second tip is to prioritize self-care. This is one of my personal goals too, as a first gen, and of course the eldest daughter at that. I am just like go, go, go. And I tend to burn myself out, and I get hyper fixated on things, and I, neglect myself a lot, and I end up burning myself out and overwhelming myself, which is not good for my anxiety. It's not good for my depression. And it just, it's overwhelming. So this year, I am changing that. I am planning to put self care more on the forefront this year. I started kind of doing that a little bit towards the end of last year. I took some steps toward it, and I started going to like therapy, and I have insomnia and I have a horrible sleep schedule or whatever. So I ended up actually going and doing a sleep study, which apparently I have sleep apnea. So that's probably one of the reasons as well. And having a little bit of sleep and your sleep schedule being all jacked up, like, it's not good for your mental health anyways. So now, with hopefully with treatment, I'll get better quality of sleep, and it's just gonna make me more energized and just have better mental health. But I'm also taking the time to learn relaxation techniques, like actually taking the time to stretch and meditate a little bit, because yeah, one of my goals is exercising, being more healthy and stuff like that. But most of the times it's just like we go work out and stuff, but we don't take the time to like stretch and get our body to relax and get out of that fight or flight mode. And so that's one of the things that I want to do more this year, is take time to just relax and kind of meditate, and just practicing more mindfulness and balancing, building this business with, my family time and self-care. The next tip is to embrace a growth mindset. Like so many of us, we see something hard or difficult, and it could be intimidating, and we kind of just avoid it. And, we just don't have the confidence to take on that challenge. So instead, in 2024, let's have this year be the year where you change your mindset to one where when you see this challenge or see something, kind of intimidating or overwhelming, you see that as an opportunity to learn and develop, and, rather than something that you need to avoid. Get out of that comfort zone, start building that confidence in yourself to, have your own back. And, like my friend Maria Delgado, which in her interview, which is episode 18, she talks about having that mindset of being her own safety net. Because in our community, we have to learn and build that confidence and build those skills to be our own safety net and to have our own back, because we don't have that luxury of having like wealthy families that like if we mess up or we fail at something, we'll be okay because, we have wealthy families to save our behinds. We have to learn to do that for ourselves. And that's very empowering because, for example, one of the things that, calmed me and my husband down. Both of us are transitioning out of the military. He gets out this year and me the next. And we did have that anxiety and that fear that, we've been in for 13 years and this is all we've known. It's a stable paycheck and like it's, we don't have to worry about anything. And then now we have to go out and just fend for ourselves kind of. And, having this mindset and having our own back is like a game changer. Because the reality is that we do have so many skills. We know a lot. We have so much experience from the Navy. And, we've set ourselves financially and all that to be successful when we get out. But it's just that initial fear and mindset of the unknown, and now changing and actually taking the time and reflecting and having that growth mindset. We're like, no, we are going to freaking not only be okay, but we're going to thrive because we have that confidence in ourselves, and we have that safety net of ourselves, and we have our own back. My fourth tip is to build that supportive network. One of the things that I loved about creating this podcast was the friendships and the networking that, it has built for me from the guests that have come on here, the people that have reached out, that have listened to the podcast and stuff. Having those friendships, that network, and that support system that uplifts and inspires you, like it was a game changer for me. Like, when I started this journey with Money Chisme last year, like, technically the year towards the end of 2022 was when I thought about this and started, trying to go for it. Like it was, intimidating, and I felt overwhelmed and I felt alone. And like now I have this awesome support system. And so now when I am feeling that, like feeling overwhelmed or that imposter syndrome, I have this awesome network of people that, not only listen, but then, they listen, they help me work through that mindset, and then they hype me back up and, are there to support and be my cheerleaders, and we support each other and, bounce ideas off each other. And like, really, like it has helped me so much in 2023. So whatever you are trying to accomplish in 2024, make sure you also take that time to find that network, to find that group of like-minded individuals that are going to, support you and pick you back up when you do have like a failure or a setback or whatever it may be, and bring you back up so that way you can continue moving forward and, you achieve success through a group effort. And the good thing is that now, because we have social media and the internet and all that stuff, it's easier now because you could do Facebook groups. I know I'm in several. You can find local events, workshops or whatever it may be, where you find people that can be your support system and network. And it just makes it easier to find these people. So make sure that this year you build that support system and network. And my last tip is to practice mindfulness and gratitude. And, this is one of my downfalls, is that because I'm a first gen, I grew up undocumented, and, like I just have this need to succeed and be an overachiever and all that. So I'm always go, go, go. And what do I need to do next? What do I need to accomplish next? And, just have this idea that I need to prove myself or whatever and be super successful, that I don't take the time to appreciate and accept and celebrate my accomplishments that I've accomplished. So this year, I want to do that more. I want to practice that mindfulness and that gratitude. And, my therapist also told me to do it. So I need to do it. And so that's what I'm doing. I just ordered some journals off of Amazon that have mindfulness and gratitude prompts, because I need prompts. I can't just sit down and start writing because my mind will go blank or whatever. And that's one last thing I want to think about, is like, what do I need to write about today? So I looked up some journals on Amazon that has like prompts already, so I could just start journaling. And I also got one for my son and my husband, and I want to do it as like a family thing. Now it's going to be daily. I'm going to try to do it daily for me, like in the mornings, or probably like right before bed. But for the kids, it's probably going to be more like weekly, because I doubt I'm going to be able to get him to do it every day, and I don't want to like force it and have it be something negative, like a punishment. But I want him to get into that habit to also practice mindfulness and gratitude, and just get him into that habit. And, of course, I got to set the example. And my husband also wants to do it as well. So I got him one. So, I'll share the ones that I bought in the show notes as an example, and get an idea of like the journals that I'm talking about. And if you want to get them, that's cool. But really, you could just get a regular journal. You could, Google or find prompts online, or even places like Etsy. They sometimes sell like PDFs or whatever, or sometimes they sell the journals themselves with prompts in them. So you could do it that way. But the key thing is just to start practicing mindfulness and gratitude. And this could be just like mentally too. Like maybe you could do like meditations like on YouTube or something that has like a walkthrough, and you just sit and meditate and just mentally go through everything that you are grateful for, whatever. You could do it that way, because sometimes you could just do it in your car too. So as long as you start that habit. Well, those are my tips that I am implementing this year, and my tips to you to help you have not only a successful year, but a healthy and happier year. Let me know what goals you have for the year, and like send me any other tips that you have, or things that you plan to do in the next year, because I'm always open for anything that's going to help me mentally and business wise. But other than that, I'm wishing you a badass 2024, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and share this episode so others can also find this podcast. Don't forget to follow me on all my social medias listed in the show notes below, where you can also find resources to help you in your financial journey. If you're interested in becoming a guest on the podcast, you can find that information in the show notes. Other than that, thank you so much for your support, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.